Welcome to the next season of JCMM Podcasts, The Thought Portal. I, Dr. Vrishali Pakharnavar.
And I, Professor Reena Patil, welcome you to the second season of the Thought Portal.
Well, this platform was put forth to give the students a platform to put their thoughts into words.
And this season, it is not only our students, but there are going to be outsiders who will be joining us.
So,
Hope you enjoy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to season 2 of the Thought Portal JCMM Podcasts. So, starting with the season, we have with us the new episode shot by the faculty members of JCMM. So, this was a simple topic of unconventional teaching methods that was discussed during the podcast. I hope we did justice to the same. Please let us know what you think about it. Enjoy. Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode for the Thought Portal JCMM Podcast Season 2. Today we are here as a faculty special episode, as you can see, and the topic for today is unconventional teaching methods. Education, as we know, is considered to be a stepping stone for any country's success. And that's why we thought, why not discuss about the changing system of education and the era that has brought in very new unconventional ways of teaching. Hi, I am Dr. Vrishali Pakharnavar, a finance faculty at JCMM.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Prasad Kapleshwari. I am the Dean here at Jain College of MC and MBA, and my area of talk or expertise lies into HR and psychology.
Good morning, everybody. This is Professor Jensen Vas from JCMM, and I deal with HR and marketing subjects.
Good morning, folks. This is Sangam Jadhav, a finance faculty at JCMM. So, to begin with, something like this way, unconventional way is what something we can retain that in our mind. If you do like a kind of events or something like simulation games, we can try to retain whatever we are studying. It is something like practically we are focusing on. Nowadays, even the NEP policy is taking into this unconventional way of like subjects. They have introduced much of it. The projects are taken into the practical way, more sort of like taking the things into consideration, working internship and all those.
Well, if I have to look at the way how the education system has been, Bloom's taxonomy is one which focuses on the ideology of 6 steps, where it tries to incorporate not just the study pattern but the application side of it. Now, just like recently when we were having a small talk with one of the CEOs, what we realized was that in India as a country tends to have very minimum amount of patents given to the world, which contributes way too less towards what the other side of the country, being such a vast populous country, we do. Now, why this also happens is because the pattern, the curriculum or the curricula as what we call, has been designed only for rote learning and not the application side of the story. So personally, I feel introducing a very unconventional method brings in a lot of diversity in terms of usage of the brain, maybe helping a candidate or maybe a student to understand what actually is the ground reality and not just try to be into the euphoric side of the story where you're just trying to find out the subject knowledge, have it in place, but not knowing how to apply side of it. So unconventional definitely is required. NEP is one of its policy that has come further, but largely I feel NEP requires still more filtering down so that it becomes it gets down to the grassroots where it's required.
Yeah, very true, sir. I would just like to quote one thing, that the roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweeter. Nowadays, the applicability part with regard to the students is missing. What I strongly feel is reading and writing should be inculcated. Before coming for anything, the students should have some basic background or a small learning or understanding about it, which is actually missing. We were the students of scarcity, but today they are the students of abundance. They have got so many things to learn, to read, but they are busy with some other things where the development becomes an issue. So my strong urge is the way we used to teach, the way we have been learned conventional method, reading and writing, should be more inculcated into the student so that the development should happen in a proper phase. This is what I would like to insist upon.
Totally, I agree. As we all know, the change is the only variable that is constant. Okay, it is going to continuously, start seeing variations. Same thing goes with education, as we saw. As the traditional form of education, if we root back, began with the Gurukul system, evolved, changed. The way we learned was basically memorization was given more importance there. But now the era is changed, the students are changed, the way in which learning and applications happen have changed. That's the reason why I feel unconventional learning methods is gaining so much importance. Now we can take so many examples here. There have been so many researches by foreign institutes where what is the best way for the students to learn. Now why this is changing, I feel, is because the students today have so many things to keep them away from the basic concepts of learning and education. So they have a lot of distractions which are very easy for them to lose their focus. So we as teachers and educators, I think, have the responsibility to make sure that they get new ways of concentrating. We present to them sort of interesting way that they can learn. So if we talk of tools that are used today for unconventional teaching, starts, I think, from the primary education where they are using smart boards. Even small schools today have introduced smart boards. We have experiential learning. We have field trips that are being taken. We see small kids visiting fire stations and hospitals, and that's the way the teachers want them to involve themselves in the practical purpose of learning. When we come to college education, we have seen so many new apps that are coming in. Like, I'm a finance faculty, so I train my students in investment analysis and portfolio. So I ask them to download these apps for mock trading, which gives them a gamification. That's the new term that has come up, which helps us to learn the concepts that we learn in class, where they apply it and try to understand it better. So I think these are some of the ways in which we are trying to adopt new ways of field trips or project based learning, experiential. Virtual reality, if we see, is a new concept where rural people can't basically come to a city to learn. So they today have these 360-degree videos which are done by top institutions like NASA, ISRO. You can actually sit at the comfort of your home and learn from them. So I feel this is the reason why unconventional teaching is necessary. And the last thing with which I would like to conclude my justification is, pandemic changed the concept of education. So it was from Gurukul system to Google Classroom system. Okay, so online education has become so common today that students are saying, college क्यों आना है, घर में बैठ के भी पढ़ सकते हैं. So it has become more responsible for us to bring in that new factor, saying कि आप घर में बैठ के पढ़ सकते हो, but then what will you gain when you come to the class, right? So that is, I think, more responsibility of us as educators.
See, there's another element to this now. If you're looking at the way how the education system is into the schools. Now, when it comes to the schools, there are a lot of new season schools which have come in, which are bringing in a lot of flair. Now, the flair involves maybe, like you said, taking them to the fire station or taking them to maybe a kitchen to make them understand how it works. Now, the enthusiasm level and the learning levels are way too high with these kids till an age group of maybe 15, 16. The moment they get into the higher education, say into the institutes, colleges, they see a knee-jerk break. That is because the education institutions, the higher educations, have now restricted themselves only to a university curriculum. That is one. So these kids who are bright enough initially are, because of this knee-jerk break of learning that happens, they literally have a standstill position. So that also leads to the fall of a lot of the talent that needs actual grooming when they move into the education, higher education, like maybe the degree or maybe the postgraduate level. So that is one element which I feel has to go synced in. Like maybe the schools are adopting this method, so has to be the education institutions, like the degrees or the UGs or the PGs. So these are the elements I think is not in sync with. So the schools are somewhere going a little faster, whereas we see that these education institutions are now restricting themselves to a curriculum, which is again designed by the university. And again, we are looking at the university also who are very stereotypical. Okay, stereotypical in the way how the power centers are. To be very honest, maybe this will definitely go on the record, but if we look at the way how the appointments of the vice chancellors or maybe the registrars are done at universities, now they are not on the merit basis, or are they on the merit basis? That's a question. Maybe that's altogether a different debatable talk, but we are looking at the aspects like these which actually have to bring in a lot of change in the education systems here.
To put further more what ma'am said about the gamification, something of that sort. The things like the first introduction was like pictorial things, what the school introduced to show the pictures to the kids and then come up with. Now in colleges, what I find it something called as a model building, which is only applicable to the engineering. What I feel, if they add this model building into all the perspectives, like with your commerce as well as non-commerce, okay, that would be the great with regards to this unconventional. That would be my last talk. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, just as Madam said, from Google, from Gurukul to Google. So I would like to say, as we in business we say B2B, I would like to say from G to
G
G.
to G.
That is what is happening. But students should are exposed to many things. They should make the advantageous part of that particular thing. This is what I would like to stress upon. Lastly, I would like to say that learning should be fun. Then only value can be added.
That's a very interesting point. So, if we have to, give a conclusion to this concept, I think why not introduce few concepts of what do you feel are the ways in which at school level or at the graduate, postgraduate level, what are the ways in which unconventional teaching should be adopted? Like I feel at the PG level, since we are postgraduate faculties here, introducing a case study method, avoiding teaching the students theories, models and everything, spoon feeding as we call it, all teachers favorite task of spoon feeding should be actually reduced to a certain extent and introduce practical application based learning. So try to include case studies, try to include live projects where the students can go learn and then present how do they relate what they learned in class to the actual concepts. So such could you give one examples, sir? What do you feel the ways in which we can introduce and imbibe unconventional learning methods?
See, right now AI has done a lot of things easy for these kids. Like ChatGPT changed the entire understanding of how you collect data or how you find it from. So we are looking at when you give an assignment to a student, I feel that the assignment has to be a live one where even the ChatGPT finds it difficult to give. ChatGPT may give the prompt that you enter may give you maybe an idea of how it should be, but how to take that idea further, I think the
Specifics.
students have to use their heads. So the assignments or the cases or maybe any of these things, ChatGPT should only act as a maybe initial guideline, but execution of it, I think the kids have to use their heads. So I think that way unconventional way of teaching makes a lot of difference. Yeah.
To put like in a concluding as what I said, the model building would be the best one to whatever we are learning, put in a model. Yes, this is how we have to learn it accordingly, and this is what in a practical in the industry it is applicable.
So any ideas?
Nothing. The way the teacher speaks in the class, I would like to say that even the same way the students should teach other students. So for that, they should have a better understanding about what they are learning. They have to read vastly. So I would like to say that from one group, it should pass on to the next group. And also teacher can add on values to their own discussions. Then I think so learning can be fun and can be more knowledgeable.
So the pedagogy adopted, I think, has to evolve, has to change so that we bring in more practical applications and orientation so that the students can, actually enjoy and start learning with the interest with which we enter the class. So I think it was a
Yes,
good
ma'am.
talk for today.
Yeah.
I hope we are teachers, so naturally we are not satisfied. We still want to talk a little, but
True.
then time constraints. I'm sure all of you are in a zone where I hope our points bring in a little bit of more clarity and interest in you to learn. And that was our podcast for today.
Also, just a little to add, I want to take another extra time a little bit here. The discussion on unconventional methods that we had now we did not give all the unconventional. We just gave perspectives.
Exactly.
So it might sound like it is maybe very biased in certain areas, but I want to have the audience to go on a thought. what could be those unconventionals that you fit into. I think that would be
Yeah. So comment and let us know.
comment and let us
I
know.
hope
Yes.
all of you enjoyed. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast today. आशा करते हैं हम ऐसे पॉडकास्ट के साथ हमेशा आते रहेंगे और आप हमेशा हमारे साथ सुनते रहेंगे. Stay tuned.